Last Friday. Put it together and had a
Oh,
sweater.
yeah, I heard. I was in the Ozarks.
Oh.
All right, I would like to call to order the September 13th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Meeting. If we could do roll call.
Sarah? Here. Al?
Here.
Aaron?
Here.
Bob?
Here.
Jeremy? Josh?
Here.
Courtney?
Here.
Lynn?
Here.
You didn't say my name. Present.
They didn't tell you about the coup?
My apologies.
Oh. Next is agenda approval. Could we get an approval of today's agenda?
So moved.
All in favor? Oh, sorry. All in
It's too
favor?
quick.
Aye.
Great. Next is the approval of the August 2022 P&Z meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is public comments. This would be for any item that is not on the new or old business for this evening. I don't believe we have anyone here for that. So next is new business. Item A is consider recommendation on a major site plan application for a car wash at 1807 North Jefferson Way. Charlie?
I'm actually going to hand it off to Emily and have her present copies.
So this is a major site plan application for a car wash at 7. Some things to note, it is zoned to highway commercial zone district. To the east there is a single family residential properties. The applicant it is showing a 30-foot wide buffer to buffer between the commercial and residential uses. For parking, a minimum of 5 parking spaces are required. They're showing 21 parking stalls. That includes the vacuum stalls for the car wash. One of those vacuum stalls will be accessible, and then there will be the standard parking spot as well. All facade that's shown on the elevations meet the minimum elevation requirements in our code. They're showing fiber cement siding, Portland cement stucco, and glass. We have sent this to development review team. At this moment, there aren't any comments. Actually, I do want to say there is some comments. Those will be addressed by the time. And then as far as traffic congestion, the site is situated on a private drive, which has access to two public roads. So it isn't anticipated that the site would have any traffic. I don't know if the applicant is here to this.
And really quick, just to add to one thing Emily noted on the stormwater stuff that we had outstanding, they actually did resubmit some of that stuff late this afternoon. I don't think we had a really good chance to kind of get our engineer to look at it, but there were just 2 minor clarification things they needed to take care of. And just in my brief review, it looks like they did, but we have our engineer hopefully looking at that before council. So.
Misty, I'm going to recuse myself on this one from voting or comment.
Okay.
I have a few comments regarding the design standards. Does this building not fall under the 20% glass requirement for the principal facade?
On the front side, so One of the things that we did, I mean, it technically does meet it, but that front facade and the way that that is being put on there, really what that is it's facade and then plus a garage door because the exit of that tunnel is going to be in there. So one of the things we looked at on that garage door was obviously there'd be a little bit of glass on that when it is closed. But noting that that was on there, it just really was nearly impossible for them to get that glass on that front side, just with the way that their building's designed. I think the applicant can talk about that a little bit more. So I think when we looked at it, it was going to be one of those things where we're hoping just to kind of vary some of that through the site plan review process or the approval process through here.
So is the door gonna have glass in it?
Believe so, and I don't know if it was 20% or not, but I'll defer that to the applicant. I know they're on Zoom here, so when we get to that portion, we can verify that.
Couple other things. Seems like we have ephes on part of these facades that are coming down to the ground and we require it to be 10 foot above grade.
I thought, look at that really quick, sorry.
I think it's that signage kind of piece. It's the ephes piece and it comes all the way to the ground.
Oh, that was one of the things that we verified. But again, I can ask the applicant here on that one too. I know that that was a comment that was made at one point. I don't know if that was another thing they were just asking, because and again, I know in working through this, they have they've got a design a building that they were looking at putting on here, but I just pull it up here really quick on some of the review comments that were made in their responses. I'll look into it. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions.
I got another picky thing too.
You're fine.
I just picked on this project. I don't know why. Typically, I think we call for, like, if we have stone or whatever on the building, that it returns 12 inches around the sides of the facade, of the front facade, like we're doing it. It should return a certain depth, which is 12 inches. So it doesn't look like it's just tacked on. It was kind of that kind of, there's a term being used in our language about architectural ability, or somebody looking true to the nature of the material, like, we just don't apply something to a facade. It needs to return 12 inches on the side. So
Was that that's actually in the code
yeah,
section instead? Yeah.
it'd be under the design standards, under the street facade stuff, I think.
So are you looking at from the exit elevation standpoint? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that one.
That stone there?
That's the front side. Yeah, see, it has stone on there, kind of wainscot, but it doesn't return on the sides.
Okay.
Any. A couple other things that drew my attention was the roof panels look like they're kind of this is a pre-engineered metal building. It looks like they were using typical pre-engineered roof panels. They're not a standing seam type, which would fall under a type 4, which wouldn't be allowed, I don't think. And then just want to make sure their specs are correct. They are calling off a stucco material, stone material. That's an ephes manufacturer that has a stucco type system. It looked like from the product literature that stuff is applied in 2 coats to about a 1/2 inch or so. I think our regulations call for it to be a traditional 3 coat. So make sure we're getting it. They're meeting the specs that we have.
So I'm trying to find this. I know in one of our reviews, their architect had submitted some comments, and I'm just trying to find where that was here.
Would the applicant on the Zoom have any ability to answer those questions as well?
There we go. Right there. You got it, Alan?
Can you all hear Alan?
There we go. Now we can, yes.
That's echoing really bad, but this is Dan Aaron, the civil engineer. I'm not sure if Alan was able to get through and log in.
Show them on here, but we can't hear them.
Okay, let me check with him.
So really quick, just going through some of the things that we had, they're showing their comments where the building roof is provided by the P&Z manufacturer, which is a long-lasting metal roof, sheet A2, and they were showing that that was a metal roof panel system, which is a class 2 roof.
They actually have a specification for the roof. So I looked it up online and it looks like it's a typical metal roof panel. It's not a standing seam type, which is what our type 1 or 2 is.
Yeah, they specified on here and just even highlighted that was a high quality metal panel.
I'm just saying it's not a standing roof according to our it's not a standing seam rate, seam roof that they've supplied. Now, if they want to provide a standing seam type roof, fine. I think they have some models that do that, but the one they specified was not.
I'm just going, and I apologize, I'm going off the comments they provided back on there.
Yeah.
And how it fit into the classifications. On everything else, I mean, the stucco that they were showing was a class 1 material, the fiber cement, each siding was a class 2, the stone veneer was a class 2, and then the metal trimmer on that was that class 4, which is allowed because it was at the 2.9%. The overhead door, they were showing 168 square feet on that. I think on the street facing side, as we talked through it with them, I think that was an exception that they were seeking just because of how that building was oriented in there, and that was the only one that required the glass. From there, I think we agreed with them, and they made a note that the front entrance, there really is not a front entrance to this because they don't have a customer entrance. It's literally just a drive-through. So there was no need to put that clear glass on the entrance side of the building either, because there was no customer entrance. And then what was the other one that you had?
EPIS is going down to the ground. I think it's on that, maybe the south facade. I'm not sure whichever one has the signage piece that kind of this one up here. The rear elevation, right? They're going in,
Rear elevation.
which is I think that's isn't that the south elevation? The car wash elements, there's two kind of like an X material being used, and that's where the stucco, I mean, the EPIS is being shown.
So they're showing, okay, yeah, no, I remember this now. So that EPIS section, what it says, so section B, it says application of exterior building materials on primary facades, and that's where we talk about the EPIS is on the primary facade. And they're showing that EPIS is on the south elevation, which is not a primary facade.
That's the only place we require the EPIS to be
It's
above
on
10
the
feet.
primary facade, yeah,
That only is addressed there.
yes.
So
So
we
the
can
the
have
section
EPIS
is
come down to
application
the-
of exterior building materials on primary facades. And then there's 3 sections of that. We talk about application of brick and stone. We talk about painting of brick and stone, and then the use of EPIS
Yeah,
in that section.
okay, well. I didn't realize it was just a primary facade. I
Yeah.
thought it was just a standard thing that we don't like to see just on the ground because it's gonna get all beat up.
Yeah, and
Chewed
that's,
up.
but I mean, and that's exactly what it was going through those code amendments when we did them. It was, you
Yeah.
know, those primary facades where people are coming in, that's where we thought they would get the most beat up.
So then what about the return of the stone on the front?
And is that? Trying to find that
It
section.
might be under more of the design standards.
You don't know the section I loaded up.
I don't have it
No,
open.
no, you're fine, I'll find it.
I mean, it'd be under that, what is it? One,
Yeah, I'm in 165.
yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, and that also applies on the primary facades.
Yeah.
You're saying on the front, it doesn't do that.
It doesn't return, yeah. Did you find it?
Yep. Yeah, thin brick and stone veneer. Thin
Yep.
brick and stone veneer should be continued, return a minimum of 12 inches around the wall corners to further maintain the appearance of full depth brick or real stone, and that's on the primary facades. Yeah, that might be something that we just see if they can
Yeah.
get that fixed on that front side there.
Yep.
I don't know, do you guys have anybody available yet to speak?
Hey, Charlie, this is Dan again, civil engineer. I'm trying not to talk too haltingly, but the echo is really bad. Alan is on, he isn't able to talk, so you guys can hear him for some reason. But we will get that stone veneer issue addressed with the architect. I'll discuss it with him and get back with you. I had not heard that part of it. But as far as, if you guys can still hear me, as far as the glass and the front of the building facing the road, one more thing Alan wanted me to mention was that door will be open during all business hours, which is, primarily the hours it's light out. So that's pretty much just an open face, pretty much every day of the week while it's light out. Also want to reiterate that there won't be customers entering. There's no services for any sort of customers to be entering or exiting the building through a walk-through door, just employees. It's a conveyor type system, so they're not allowed to exit or enter the vehicle while going through the wash facility. Any other questions I can try to answer, but I am definitely not an architect.
Yeah, I think the other two things are more on the specifications of the stucco and the roof panels. We require a traditional 3-coat system. I think the product that was specified is typically applied in a 2-coat. We just want to make sure that we're getting a 3-coat system. And then I don't believe the roof panel that was specified, the certain model number that was specified on the drawings is a standing seam type roof panel, which is what's required. And so we'd like to make sure that that roof panel design meets our specifications.
Okay. Yeah, and Charlie, if you can throw that in an email just so I don't misword it, we'll definitely get that straight to the architects and get that rectified. Otherwise, I guess I should say thank you guys so much for looking at this, and we think it's a really good site and going to be a really good project. So.
Yeah, and then going back on the glass, and you mentioned something that triggered my thought process on kind of the discussions that we've had through the 5 reviews that we've done. But I think that's kind of what we agree. We didn't agree, obviously, because the commission's got to send the recommendation out. But from staff standpoint, I think we were comfortable with the fact that, yeah, the garage door is going to be open most of the time. It's not clear glass, but still it's the same effect as clear glass, and just knowing the use that's going on here, and really how you can't get necessarily any glass on the product itself. I think we were good with them coming forward with asking for essentially an exception to that requirement.
Was there any notification to any of the neighbors about this?
We are not required to do notifications on site plans.
Lights.
And I think on the photometric, Danny, I'm trying to recall really quick, is there any lighting on this site?
There will be lighting on the site. I believe a photometric was completed We pretty much do for every single one, and they use a special light type that is obviously really directional to make sure that we don't have light spillage onto neighboring properties. One other good thing about this particular site is that buffer. And as a person who put together the landscaping plan, I can promise you that there is a plethora of trees in that buffer. I don't know if I could have fit any more in.
So the lights, are they gonna be like the lights, let's say around Pizza Ranch that are pointed down? So they're not going to, and are they going to be outside of that 30-foot buffer? Not inside the 30-foot buffer?
Yep, nothing's allowed inside of that buffer, and they are that type of light.
Okay,
I believe we did supply, the architect did supply details on those lights. If not, we have them.
I couldn't quite understand on the plan. They looked like they were directional down pointing lights, but I wanted to clarify that. Also, noise. How loud is it gonna be when you go through the car wash and it blows the water off your car, or when somebody's out there at midnight running the vacuum?
This is the.
So I'm definitely not the expert on that, but having done enough of these, one, the hours are such that this is not open during the night. I think they typically close the latest at 8 o'clock. Alan's probably silently cursing me for getting that wrong, but I think 8 o'clock's the latest that they stay open. Nope, 7 p.m. He's texting me right now. So no one is allowed on site after hours. The hours are 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Also, they do a lot of design to try to keep these as quiet as possible. Obviously, that comes up everywhere they put these facilities, as well as the dryer system and all that is facing away from the residential. Most of the noise will be directed out towards the highway.
Okay, thank you.
Can I stick my neck out on this one? I'm looking at the feasibility for the city on this. We've got a brand new one going, I mean, directly across catty corner from this right now that's being built. So, I mean, is this going to be supported well by the city? The design of this is wonderful. This is exactly what I imagine we should have in Indianola, but now we've got a brand new one going in. Is this feasible?
I've not
This
personally
one's
done.
100% automatic
Yeah, I
versus
mean,
the others are bays.
Yes. Yes.
and I can tell you from my standpoint, I personally, being in this job and working with other cities, I try not to get too involved in, market studies or anything like that. I mean, from my standpoint, I've always said the business that's coming in here has done the studies on those things. They realize that there's a market for it. I don't think they were going to come in here if they don't think they can make it work. We're a growing community, obviously 16,000 still going up. We've got one power wash facility. We're gonna have the one automatic on the north side of town. The existing one that's there, I believe, is gonna be converted to all, we're looking at the roofs there, the personal use ones, or the non-automatic ones, whatever they are. And then we'll have the tunnel wash as well then too. So, I mean, I personally don't see the issue on that, but again, I've not done any market studies or have any of that data to support that opinion.
Well, it's excited to see this, but it was like just being on the cautious side. It's like it's directly across the street.
Yeah, and just some commentary from my standpoint. I mean, we hear it all the time with, oh, there's 5 cases in this town. How do they support each other? Well, they all get supported. They've all been working for a while. I've heard the same thing with pharmacies, coffee shops. I can go on and all the things that people will always tell you, there's too many of them in this town. Well, they're all still open and they're all supported. So
The lines are pretty long at the one car wash for sure too.
Yeah.
And if that
Yeah.
one
And
I
is
know so.
converted to all self-serve. then,
Right.
Yeah.
I can attest to that too. I've tried to go through that power wash on a nice day and sometimes you have to wait for half an hour. So
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve, based on the following concessions that that staff looks at the return of the culture stone around the corners added. And you confirm that the roof panels as well as the stucco meet the requirements of our zoning ordinance.
Do we get a second?
Right.
Oh,
He was very
good.
quiet.
Sorry.
It's very quiet.
We heard it.
Came up.
I didn't see his move, so I was-
Yes.
Sarah. Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Yes.
We need speakers
We're all quiet
tonight.
here.
What?
Right, so moved. Item B, consider recommendation on a major site plan application for a bank at 1401 North Jefferson Way.
So this next one is a major site plan for a major financial service building. This is rebuilding fire. So it's rebuilding back new. They're, as part of the major site plan, they are also doing a buffer yard. The building would be approximately 15,000 square footage. There's no proposed additional parking. They're going to restructure their parking lot to accommodate for the parking service. They're not adjusting much of the layout for it. They will have each of the ATM or drive-up lanes will be able to queue up to 4 vehicles. There's also 61 parking spaces provided on the site. The materials on the facade includes a combination of brick, stone veneer, clear glass, and precast stone. All of those are class 1 facade materials. Because the use was previously established, it's not anticipated that occur on the site. The applicant is here for this one as well.
I just want to add to, and I think this is the True Bank site there, and everything like that, but we worked through this one with the applicant a little bit, and really what we got to do is we got to look at this as a brand new site plan. Unfortunately, we know that there was a fire that caused some issues, so there's a few concessions that I think from staff standpoint we made, knowing that it is an existing site and we're trying to get what we can on this. So, Emily mentioned the landscape buffer, for example. I think typically we require a 30-foot buffer. They don't have 30 feet, but we are getting some trees and stuff in there, at least to kind of buffer that neighboring area over there. And then stormwater was another thing that we kind of went back and forth on as well. There's an existing storm sewer utility that runs through this site that does connect to the city system. Been there probably for 40, 50, 60 years, something like that. Not necessarily built to what today's standards would be, but we've done enough study, looked at it to know that there was never any issues on that before with some of our heavier rains, and we're still pretty confident that it's going to operate in an efficient manner on that as well. So overall, I think we've looked at quite a few things on this, and I think we're pretty comfortable where we stand on it. So. Yes, as Emily said, any questions, happy to answer them.
Any comments or questions?
Charlie, Emily mentioned 4 cars of stacking through the drive-through there. Are we feel comfortable and confident that looking at how how the site flows through there, just
Definitely, I mean, and with the double, especially with the double drive-through lanes that are in there, I think we're good on
good shape on it.
We don't have kind of an overall site plan of the south area that connects it, do we? Kind of how that all works with Taco Bell or whoever's in there? Because they access through that same road, right?
Yep. And it would essentially be the same way they're doing it. So yes, if you look at the site plan, Taco Bell comes right on the southeast side of that thing.
Yeah, right where that
So,
opening is.
yeah, they still have that interconnect, which is where they're then able to get some of those parking lot setback variances essentially down to zero with that interconnection they're making at Taco Bell.
So we're not too concerned about traffic coming out of the drive-through and, you know, turning left as other people are driving through there from Taco Bell.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's worked. It's always been a thing. And when you're dealing with the controlled access highway, that is Jefferson, there's really no way to get them any other way out of there. And again, I think the property owners agreed to all of the easements, the cross access easements, and all of that through this property for Taco Bell, so.
Would the applicant like to speak at all?
Nice to put a face to a couple of the names. Okay, I'm just talking. Got it.
It is connected to the
Oh.
overall system, it just doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sure I was the architect. Oh, another email from that architect for True Bank. So, no, the access through Taco Bell, we're not really changing that. We actually think we're improving it. The drive there used to be, and if you look at G 0.1, if you guys have that sheet there, that's the one you really want to look at. You can still see how they had their drive-through before used to be on that east side, kind of that northeast corner. We've got it down below now. I actually think it's improves the traffic through there, in my opinion. Versus how they had it before. People would be zooming around, to get in, they could be passing by Taco Bell to go into the drive-through. This way, they're queuing, they're stopped, then they exit and they can see Taco Bell traffic as they come out. My opinion, that's a safer situation.
Would you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Hal
Just
Snow. I'm the
to
architect
minutes?
for
Thank you,
Clint
thank you.
and Keith over here.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, I think the only thing that, and I don't remember how that exactly worked before, but, you've got traffic coming to Taco Bell, from the north going south.
Right.
And, I just wondered the visibility as they're coming, south to go to Taco Bell and somebody's pulling out of the drive-through and, if there's if we see so many potential issues there.
It's a great comment, Bob. I think that's what I was saying before. People would just be zooming around that same corner, which we haven't really, that corner is out, that's been there. And people would be coming around that corner and then going into the drive-through.
Yeah.
So
I just wondered if it would make any sense to see some type of yield sign or something as if people are leaving the bank. To yield to
I
that
think,
traffic kind of, or
let's see.
seemed like they'd have the right of way. The bank people are kind of pulling onto the road. Or the access road. I don't know. It's just a little concerning how that's all gonna work and how well it's gonna work, but
And on this one and everything too, I mean, I'm not the expert in the city when it comes to anything traffic. By any means, that Keeler's Pal, our public works director, has reviewed this and signed off on all of it as well too. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware on that one. But yeah, I think we did look at it. There is some parking lot signage, I believe, in this site as well too.
Yeah, there's
So,
do not enter signs. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, but yield sign wouldn't be amiss probably, but
yeah, it just might be a
Easy
precaution. If
to
somebody's
add.
leaving the drive-through that they, are looking.
I mean, it'd probably have to
Before
go,
they pull out.
right, probably have to go on Taco Bell's property if it really wants to be. Not sure where else you would put it, but you can kind of see
I
our
don't know either.
property line goes right back past that curbing.
Yeah,
That's actually in Taco Bell's property.
okay.
That's kind of the edge of ours.
Yeah.
But
I don't see any nods to Orchard Plaza in the architecture.
Well, I don't know that my client, he had other ideas.
Yeah.
I think it's a very nice
Oh my
design.
gosh,
Yeah, it looks
it's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
So the big question is, the car show is still gonna happen there.
I think it looks good. I compliment you. I do think it flows better this way. Nice job.
Yeah, and then they had the buffer zone. I don't think they really had anything out there before, so we're adding that to improve, right? Even though it doesn't meet the minimum requirements, but there was nothing there before. A couple of trees, if there were any trees out there.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? Someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I can make a motion to approve major site plan submitted using, was it as submitted?
Second. You do a roll call vote, please.
Lynn,
Yes.
Courtney,
Yes.
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and Misty.
Yes. So moved. Okay, item C, consider recommendation for request for approval of a plat of survey for Warren and Natalia Burge for block 14 of Meadows Edition, 405 East Franklin. I will recuse myself from this agenda item. Sarah, you can take it from here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna turn it over to Emily and Charlie for information.
So this is a plat survey. 405 East Franklin. This do a boundary line adjustment. So lot 1, which is currently 0.23 acres in size, would be 13 acres, or 13 acres, yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't look that big.
And then lot 2, which is currently 0.19 acres, would become 0.29 acres. Would become a 0.29 acre lot. There is a dwelling. That dwelling was built in 1910, and it's 890 square feet of first area. And would remain on lot 1.
Sense to be done, industrial.
Any comments or questions? So sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. Sarah, maybe you
Strike.
could suggest.
Are you present for this agenda item or anything? I am.
Okay.
Just a listener.
Okay,
Just wanted to make sure. And no one on the Zoom call, right? Okay. Any questions from anybody? Like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend the plat of survey be approved as submitted.
You have a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Courtney,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Al.
Yes.
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 All right, I'll turn it back over to you. Wonderful. Just gonna keep my mouth shut. Okay, so item D, consider recommendation on the request for approval of a plat of survey for Indianola Lodge number 70 IOOF for property located at 1202 South Jefferson Way.
So this is another five survey request. This request would essentially, it's where it's located at 1202 South Jefferson Way. It's the, which is like a community, recreational organization. And then there's also the cemetery there. So what this plat survey would do is parcel off that area where the building is located and separate that out from where the cemetery.
Sums it up pretty well.
Comments or questions?
Move approval.
We have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 There, Courtney.
Oh, yes, sorry. I couldn't tell if you said my name or not, so.
Yes.
Item E, consider recommendation on an amendment to chapter 165 regarding fireworks sales locations. Have a staff report?
Yeah, I'll take this one really quick. So the easy one. Earlier this year, April 21st, 2022, the governor did sign Senate File 2285, which does require us to do this amendment. What the Senate bill said was the city shall not adopt or enforce any regulation or restricted under this chapter to regulate, restrict, or prohibit the location of permanent buildings or temporary structures used for the sale of consumer fireworks pursuant to section 100.19 in any location zoned for commercial or industrial purposes. With the code that we recently adopted, we only allow fireworks sales in the C2, the M1, and the M2. So what this amendment would do would then allow them in the C1 zoning district, which we have no zoned property in the city at C1, and the C3 zoning district, which is mainly the downtown area. We are just
Right up next to the
complying with what the
courthouse.
state says we have to do. So.
Sell them out front yard of the courthouse.
There's not enough parking.
So
Oh,
can
man.
can you change it to a different zoning category downtown?
Be a commercial zoning district, I think, no matter what we did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm
Can't get around that one.
pretty sure that I can be pretty confident from my standpoint in knowing how these organizations typically work. They're probably not going into downtown district. They like to be on those highway corridors where they get the visibility.
Straight through traffic.
Yeah.
And we
so-
really did have a parking requirement. They had to have so many
Yep,
spaces,
yep.
so.
So
that's what sticks.
it really, in the end, I'm not terribly worried about it, but you know.
Do we have to make a motion to approve it?
Recommend, yes, recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval as
State mandates.
Yeah.
Second.
Recommending we comply with the
Yeah.
law.
turns out.
vote then?
Erin.
Yes.
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 Lynn,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and Al.
Yeah.
We all sound very excited about that one. Okay, so number 8, comments. Charlie, the permit report?
Yeah, really quick on the permit report, still kind of on track for where we were last year to this year on permits. As I've mentioned the last few times, I think we're down a little bit on single family. I attribute that mainly to the lack of lots that we've had available for most of the year. However, that is getting better. We have Prairie Glen 3 now completely approved. Same with Bellows 4 completely approved. Heritage Hills 11 will be approved by council. Hopefully on Monday. I can't speak for them, but that is going in front of them on Monday. And then the first phase of the Summercrest development, I would anticipate that final plat comes forward to the commission at their next meeting for approval. And that's I don't remember how many lots it is, but that's about 50 if I remember right. So we're going to be bringing a lot of lots on board this one. And then commercial wise, we're looking very strong on our commercial numbers, and you just approved a recommended approval 2 site plans tonight that are only going to help that number go up a little bit as well too. So, and I think we've got a few more sitting out there that still have to come forward. So valuation wise, I think we're looking really strong this year as well.
Awesome. And then what about current projects?
Current projects, I mean, if there's any questions on any of that, happy to answer them, but we're still working through, I think, like I said, we have 2 site plans sitting out there right now that are pending approval. Couple one small subdivision. Yeah, so, and we've got a lot that are slated to get ground moving. I know Ashton Park, I just had a conversation with them today, and I think they've started moving a little bit of earth out there and really looking to kind of ramp those efforts up here in the next week and start getting some underground pipe put in for that development out there. So we're sitting pretty strong on development still right now too, and then a lot that we imagine will be coming down the pike here even over the winter and through the spring next year.
Project on Highway 92 West that seems to have been going on forever at the vet clinic.
Yes,
They're gonna get there?
I think so.
Good
Yeah.
bill.
Right,
Good bill.
in the past
Well,
2
yeah, I
weeks.
noticed, but part of it has got buttonweed growing in it that tall, so
Yeah.
obviously hasn't been going on real fast
They,
here.
I'd have to check with Tim on that one. I know they've had a few utility issues out there and tying everything in that they've had to work through, but yeah, I mean, I know that I just drove past it today and they were getting a new roof put on the building and all that. So I think from a building perspective, everything's going good. I think it's just some of the utility work on site that it's been a little bit more difficult than they had envisioned.
Have you seen the final plan of the Dollar General Crossroads, whatever they call that, across from Sports Page, of what they're doing
You're
there?
talking on the facade plan that
Yeah.
they're doing on there. No,
No.
we had dealt with that owner, that was 2 years ago now, on some of the stuff that they were looking at doing there because they were actually looking to the city to help finance some of it. And we discussed a little bit and never really came to terms on anything and hadn't heard from him for a while, so. But yeah, I mean, everything he's doing is just cosmetic on the outside of that thing for now, so nothing that triggers a site plan.
Or permits or anything, yeah.
I have one more question.
No, you don't.
Senate File 2285, the second part of it, does that apply to us?
What's the second part of
Planning
it?
and Zoning Commission and Board of Adjustment membership. The cities with zoning jurisdiction outside the city limits
Yep. No, it does
must
not.
try to have at least 1 of 2 additional members of both planning and zoning and Board of Adjustment be an agricultural landowner.
That applies, having previously worked for a county, I believe that applies to one county in the state, and that is Des Moines County and Burlington. So what that says is if there's maybe 9 or 10 counties in the entire state that have no zoning in the unincorporated area. So if a county doesn't have zoning in the unincorporated area, the city has the ability to do zoning within 2 miles of that. Warren County has zoning in the unincorporated area, so we can take advantage of that. So no, it does not apply to us.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion? to
Well,
adjourn?
really quick, I just wanted to add one more thing, and I'll be that person now. I mentioned it. So our sub area plan, we're working on that area out there in that 6th Street area. We did actually just finalize our public open house, which is going to take place on Thursday, October 6th at 6 p.m. And that's going to be at the Emerson Elementary Gymnasium. So just
When
wanted
is
to make
that?
sure.
October 6th?
It's October 6th, Thursday at 6 p.m. in Emerson's gym. So just wanted to make sure you were all aware of that. And once we get the invite finalized, which Emily was working on today, we'll get a copy of that out to everybody.
So that's an informational meeting
Open
for
house.
folks in
Yep.
that area.
Yep. Oh, it's open to the public in general. We're gonna actually send postcard invites to the folks in those areas, but it is open to the public.
Well, sure.
That is all. I have.
Does anyone have any other comments or questions? Or would they like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.